Welcome to the show, Nina Kristofferson. You are an award-winning actor, singer, writer, producer, director, and teacher. Some of your accolades include Woman of Excellent Awards, Community Champion, and the Operatic Awards, to name a few. Your first musical play about Billie Holiday premiered and sold out at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, going on to successfully tour and have a sold-out run in London's West End. There is a ton of stuff to talk about with you, Nina. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, and please do tell us more.
Now, where do I start? I mean, Billie Holiday was incredible. That journey from Edinburgh to doing a small tour and then landed in the West End and to sell out. I mean, it was fantastic. We had a 5-piece jazz band with some of the best musicians you could ever play with. I was just really blessed. My MD at the time was Alan Rogers, and still is actually, Alan Rogers, and he does Strictly Come Dancing Arena tours, so you can imagine the wealth. Just really brilliant. Martin Shaw's on trumpet, a fantastic trumpeter, professor himself. Albert Garza was on tenor sax and clarinet, and Oliver Patrick on drums. Just a fantastic lineup. And so when people came, they weren't sure what to expect other than a story about Billie Holiday, but it was about her story and also the unpicking of that timeline of what she went through the drugs, the abuse, the love, and the rape. The whole gamut was in there, and it was like a ticking clock of what was going to happen to her and how she was going to go through to the next realm, as into the spiritual realm, or whether she would. So that's the kind of cusp of the whole arc of the story of what it was hanging on. And it just packed out. Every demographic came, people brought their aunts and uncles and grandmas, and the grandmas brought their, their grandchildren. I mean, it was just great. It was a wonderful opportunity. And, I just feel really blessed to have been able to play Billie Holiday because of the legacy she left behind. The music was phenomenal. The Great American Songbook, the long list of the music she created herself, some of the artists she worked with, incredible. I mean, she was the queen of jazz, and, we all think of her being up there, of course, with Ella Fitzgerald and, the other greats. But it was a huge journey. And the only thing that slowed me down was the pandemic. Up until then it was go, go, go. So it was just really nice to be able to be in the West End and to perform such an iconic role and be a leader of change, being female, directing, producing and starring in my own written show. And a lot of people didn't know I wrote it. So that was the bit that they were like, and that kind of got skated over, and they almost didn't believe I wrote it as well, because, it's an unusual thing. It's the first of many when it first happened. So it was great.
Yeah. Tell us about your journey of when you started in music.
I'm a trained actress. So for me, music began because I wanted to go to drama school. It's quite simple as that for me. And you have to, on entry, you have to do a song, an acting piece, and possibly dance, depending on which drama school. And I had to have singing lessons, and I happened to be good. You find out the hard way. The teacher, I was kind of not deliberately messing around, but I wasn't really focused. But he could hear the potential in my voice and said, if you practice, half an hour a day, you'll become really good. Otherwise, I'll kick you out. And I thought I'd better practice. And, the rest is history. I mean, that was the way it started. And then at drama school, I trained as an actress, but you get to sing and dance even though you're on the acting course for the particular school I went to. And it was incredible because I got to learn to really move my body and encompass song and music in a different way. Before I went to drama school, I could already sing because I went to a private music school, Euphonious School of Music, which John Johnson ran. And that's when I became chief chorister. So I already knew I had pipes on me. So I didn't feel like I needed to do the musical theatre course because I thought I could sing already. Want to act? I just want to act. And so I didn't do that. But on that journey, what they do when you go to drama school, they ask you to investigate and really explore different songs, different styles, and how you're going to portray them. And that's really when I really came across Billie Holiday again. you know, because I used to sing a lot of jazz when I was growing up, but nothing serious. But that the reaction that I had from the other students when I sung Strange Fruit, they cried. It just, the whole class stopped and we discussed the whole thing. And that's when I realized the impact of someone as great as Billie Holiday, as great as that music, you know, for the civil rights and what it was standing for and the message. It really sort of gave me an insight into another style that I kind of abandoned because I was in the musical theatre world and loving it and still love it. So I kind of just embraced it, really.
Do you write social conscious music?
Not enough. I'm about to sort of try and get more into it. I've only written one song officially, and that's in the show. But I play a lot and I sing a lot of different styles. There's been a demand for it, and I'm like thinking, you know, I need to really wake up and do it. I am socially conscious. Because of the education side of things, because I used to be the director of equality, diversity and inclusion at Surrey University. So that embodied all the social consciousness and cultural consciousness of the different races, different cultures, and embedding what that meant, as well as the LGBT community, and basically encompassing all communities and what that really means and what that kind of platform could look like. So I really went on a big nosedive from the experience that I had from being in the profession and brought that into the education system and really embedded a big anti-racism action plan for them to start to roll out to the rest of the students and faculty members. So I am there verbally, and now I'm thinking, you know, I need to do more music. I was just before the pandemic hit, I did have funding to do the Nina Simone story, because that was going to be my next thing. For that reason, for the social consciousness of it and who she was and what she stood for, her message, and, you know, her big involvement, a bit like Billie Holiday, but in a different way with the civil rights movement. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Tom?
You've also since then written another musical called Timeless, which is sung in 5 different languages. Can you tell us a little bit about that particular musical and kind of obviously the process you went through to get that underway?
You know, it's Would You Dare? It's in one interview with the BBC. They said, "Oh, you're just showing off," but it wasn't. You know, in 5 different languages. But it wasn't that. It was about the social consciousness for the time it was happening, and also I wanted to have a show that every culture could feel like they were going to come and see and listen to, and the music would reflect, hence why it was in different languages. I mean, some people said, what about Mandarin? I was like, oh, that's really hard. I was thinking, well, I'm doing 5.
What 5 languages were you sort of showcasing in that particular show?
It was, of course, English, French, Italian, Spanish, and Latin.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's huge. So I would say from Beyonce to Puccini. So it kind of gives them it gives everyone a little insight of what they can expect, right? Because it did open with Beyonce, and it did sort of go into Puccini. So I would sing Ave Maria, O mio babino caro, all that kind of stuff, classic song, No me quite pas, and, you know, Besame mucho. So it really had this really wonderful eclectic mix. And I kind of think sometimes I'm funny, so I added a little bit of humor in that as well, and tried to get the audience to laugh and to sort of really engage with the music and what possibly the next song could be. So it was really a real immersive nosedive into great classic songs, you know.
Fabulous.
Go ahead and ask another one.
Okay. Which do you prefer? This might be a difficult one to actually answer. Which do you prefer, performing music or writing and performing in theatrical production?
You know, you're right. It is difficult because each has its own. Yes, true. Each has its own feel, style, and it rewards you differently. You get different things from each area of work. Do you know what I mean? So to be honest, I like it all. I like, and I couldn't live without the other, because I always practice. I always rehearse my music. I always warm my voice up, and I think I'm ready to go every time for any acting role. And I wouldn't want to dissect it, because they both speak to me in a different way. Do you know what I mean? The acting feeds my soul in a different way, and the singing feeds my soul in a different way. And
do you look for like an acting role that would include singing, if possible? Would you kind of say, okay, I'm an actor that sings or a singer that acts, so I would like roles in acting worlds which would actually encompass the singing? Would you try and look for that?
Not necessarily, but I think because I've got my two shows, the Billie Holiday story and Timeless, and then of course I did a spin-off like Christmas one, and that was very similar. And everything I write or sing has like a story arc to it, so you're not just coming to generally listen to songs, although the story can come out of it and the songs will just be a beautiful concert, and I've done that as well. But I tend to not really think about it in that way. I like both, and I'll encourage both areas to come to me. And I think if I was just going to be singing and acting and look for those specific roles, I think more about musical theatre or a musical play. Do you know what I mean? Some plays with music, but there's not many real plays with music that's really well done. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's a new piece and then it's going through the whole development and R&D process, which is great. And I'm open to all of that. But I tend to, when I think about songs and plays, it tends to be like a musical or maybe that kind of feel. I was in Pitlochry, not too far from Edinburgh. Yeah, it was fantastic. We did 3 plays. I think they did a season of about nine different shows, and I was in 3, and you couldn't be in any more than 3 for the season. And so I did Sense and Sensibility, and I played 2 roles in that, and they were both very different but very comedic. And then I also did Footloose, a musical, and then Carole King, Beautiful, the musical. But what was really unique about that season was that I got to act, sing, and play the piano. So in that sense, it had that element of doing what you're saying. But that's a really unique situation. It doesn't happen that often, to be honest. But I just jumped at it. And while I was doing that, I was coming back to London to do Billie Holiday. So I was doing 4 different shows at the same time. So it was crazy, but good crazy, and I enjoyed it. Definitely, I will. I'm at the moment. I'm doing a lot of play reading for films and TVs. I've got my nose into that because I'm trying to do a deep nosedive, but I don't know how it's going to go. But I'm loving what that's bringing about. I've got a vegan documentary that's come about that I took part in, and I think that's going to be released online on YouTube at the end of this month. So there's that. But there's so many different things that I've been doing.
Well, listen, bless you for your time and the privilege of your time. Thank you so much. And Tom's going to get all your information so we can pass it on and spread the love.
Oh, that's wonderful. And thank you so much for your patience and for interviewing me. It's been absolutely amazing. So lovely to meet you.
Just for our listeners' purposes, how can people go about, obviously you mentioned the YouTube channel there, how can people go about seeing what you're up to? Have you got sort of social media details or anything like that you can give us?
Yeah, I can send them to you, but you can also find me on Instagram under Nina Kristofferson with a K, like Chris Kristofferson, so KRISTOFFERSON, and Nina like Nina Simone, and that's my Instagram handle, and the same for Facebook and LinkedIn, and for Twitter, it's Nina's page or NK Billie Holiday. You can find me there, but they all link into each other, so you'll be able to.
I'll put the links to those in the description of the video at the bottom there anyway for people.
Fantastic. And my website, of course, NK Productions as well. It's got everything.
What is that?
Yeah.
Great.
Lovely.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks, Nina.
Thank you so much for interviewing me. Lovely to see you both.
Great.
Wonderful.
save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. There's an urgency facing our humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.